What if the reason you still feel stuck isn't because you just can't change, but because you've been chasing the wrong kind of change? Most people think transformation comes from massive shifts, changing your job or starting a whole new routine or moving to a new city. But here's the truth. Changing your outside circumstances, might bring a sense of starting over and some kind of excitement, but it doesn't actually change you. Real change happens in the quiet moments of your mind when you go, oh, yeah, that makes sense. Maybe it happens while you're driving or in the shower or sharing a meal with people you love or sitting in an office meeting. It can be anywhere. One fresh thought, one quiet shift in perspective, and suddenly life looks completely different. I've seen clients realize something new in a conversation together in a small moment where they say, yeah, that's what I'm going to do. That's it. Where it seems so simple and it makes so much sense. It's like they wake up to a brand new world. In this video, I'll share 5 tiny habits that work for me in my life and may spark an idea or curiosity in yours. We've all said, that's it. I'm going on a diet. And for a month, you're all in. You're eating clean, you're hitting the gym, you're doing everything right. And then it fizzles out. Your enthusiasm dissipates. You go back to having one burger, a few chips. I'll skip the gym today. And then it turns into tomorrow. And, why does this happen? Well, it happens because willpower doesn't last. Whenever I force myself to change, it only works for so long. It takes so much effort. And because I haven't really bought into my big change, well, it feels too hard. Real change happens differently. It comes when you see something new for yourself, like realizing I actually feel better when I move my body every day. Or I think more clearly when I eat food that nourishes me. That kind of shift changes the way you see the world. And from there, your habits start to change like almost naturally because it makes sense to you. Sure, it requires some effort. You got to do something, but it still feels a whole lot easier. So here's a couple things for you to reflect on. What's one area of my life, I'd love to see change in? Is there something I can do? And the truth is, you don't need to do a complete 180 right now in any area of your life. You can, and sometimes that will make perfect sense to you. I get inspired by other people I admire, or books I read, or songs that I listen to and love. But for me, it's more about kind of trying things out, something that's new and feels right for me, and seeing if it works. And when I notice that there's something I'd like to do or do differently, I try a few things out and I see what works. Some days I do better than others, but I have an idea of where I'm headed. And I stay open to new ideas, new thoughts, new inspiration, creativity, and it comes from within me. So let's look at the very first shift of the day. Before everything starts to get real busy and your day starts to get filled up with all kinds of stuff. If you wake up in the morning feeling anxious or stressed about what lies ahead, one small habit that may help is to soak yourself in gratitude. Like even before you open your eyes. If your thoughts are creeping in about how hard the day's going to be and all you have to do today, like you've got 20 things on your to-do list and you're only going to get a few things done, shift your thinking to all that you're grateful for. Your life, your kids, your health, the fact that you woke up, the love that you have for people in your life. Smile, realizing the joy and happiness in your life and being satisfied and content with how things are right now is a great way to start the day. If you fill yourself with gratitude, and it's only for a couple of minutes, and you feel the energy that flows through your body before you jump out of bed, before you get to create something new in your day. Just a few minutes in the morning, you can empty your head, calm your mind, and feel the gratitude enveloping your whole body. This tiny act is a reminder to yourself that your life is a gift. And that in itself, well, geez, that's a lot to be grateful for. And when you start your day filled with gratitude, you're no longer kind of dragging all the stuff in from yesterday and last week. You feel lighter. You're free to choose, free to create. Another tiny habit that I've incorporated into my day is physical exercise. Some days I'm at the gym for an hour. Maybe it's a short walk or it's stretching and yoga. It makes a huge difference. Moving my body shifts my state of mind, lifts my mood, helps me feel more grounded and energized for the rest of the day. And it doesn't have to be regimented, hours on end. It can be, 2-minute movement boosts between calls or meetings, and that will give you that renewed sense of energy. Most days, I wake up early. I jump out of bed and I'm pumped up to get to work. I love what I do. I'm grateful for that. But as the morning moves on, I can feel the tightness in my legs. If I've been sitting at my desk too long, I can feel it in my neck. I can feel the strain on my mind if I've been focused on a project or conversations with people. I put a lot into it. It's time to move my body. And some mornings, it's my dog that nudges at me because he's ready for a little walk, and off we go. Most of us sit around too much at desks, in cars, in front of screens, and the result is low energy, foggy focus, and a body that feels heavy. And we tell ourselves we don't have time for a full workout every day. So what do? Nothing. And then that cycle continues day after day after day. So squeezing some physical exercise into your day, it's good for you. You've heard it before. Here's what I know. Boosts of energy come from long workouts, for sure. They also come from shorter movement. Standing up and stretching or walking around, even for a few minutes. Dancing to one song, jogging up or down the stairs to make a tea or a cup of coffee, a short walk around the block. It's great because you get the movement in. If you go outside, you get some sun in your eyes. Any one of these short forms of movement wake up your body and help to reset your mood. I build quick movement breaks into my day. No gear, no gym, no pressure. Just a few minutes, done with intention. And research shows that these micro movements lift energy and mood more effectively than waiting for that one big workout that, let's face it, you don't do enough. When your body feels awake, your mind follows. You show up more focused, more alive, more present for the people in your life and the work that you want to get done. So that's what I do. But movement isn't the only way to reset. This next shift is even smaller, and it starts with the first sip of your morning Java. If you're a coffee drinker like me, that's a great sip. We all have automatic routines. Maybe it's that first cup of coffee. Maybe it's a high protein breakfast. Maybe it's walking the dog. Well, most of us miss the chance to claim those tiny moments and make them beautiful. But what if you slowed down just for a few moments to really enjoy your cup of coffee or really enjoy your breakfast before you dive into emails, the day, the work, the to-dos, the kids, the driving? First thing in the morning, you have this little opportunity to calm your mind, settle your thinking, Really, at any moment in the day, you have this available to you. And when you take a moment to just stop, to breathe, notice the beauty, the warmth of your coffee, the taste, the smell. You're outside, maybe a bird is singing, the sun is shining, and you tell your body, we're safe, we're steady. So tomorrow, when you take that first sip or first step out to walk your dog, pause, close your eyes, breathe, take it in. That single breath can change the tone of your entire day. The point isn't coffee or walking the dog, it's presence. Being in the moment, really being present in the moment, makes you more grounded, less reactive, and more connected to your life. But what happens in the middle of the day? When things are chaotic, you're not as far ahead as you wanted to be, you feel tired, or at the end of the day, you're exhausted, you're burnt out. You want to relax, but you still got all this on your mind. Something that's worked really well for me is going to bed at the same time each night. 7 days a week, and waking up at the same time. I always aim for 8 hours of sleep, usually get about 7. And when I wake up, I get natural sunlight in my eyes. And if it's still dark outside, I have my daylight lamp. I spent decades burning the candle at both ends, going to bed too late, getting up too early. But this habit has made a big difference in my life. And if you're going to bed with your phone, scrolling late into the night, or, watching another Netflix episode, which we all do from time to time, it may feel harmless, but it's training your brain to stay alert when your body is like screaming and begging for rest. Poor sleep follows. Poor sleep makes everything harder. Work, mood, how you relate to people, what you accomplish. You don't feel like exercising, you're tired, you eat differently. So it's been really helpful for me. Try a few things out, see what works for you. And that leads us to connecting your habits to your identity. So change isn't just something you're forcing yourself to do. It's part of who you are. It's part of who you are. It comes from you. You want to make these changes. It makes sense to you. We don't live in the world of our goals. We live in the world of our thinking. If the story in your head is, I'm overwhelmed, I'm behind, I'm not enough, then that's the world that you're creating. And that's where you're feeling stuck, no matter what actions you take. But the good news is that one fresh thought can change everything. We don't have to fight for a new identity. When we understand how thought is creating our experience in the moment, we realize we're never trapped. A calm, confident, grounded version of you is always available because it's who you are underneath of all the noise. And the path isn't about forcing habits from outside in. It's not about willpower. It's about noticing when you've gotten caught up in thought, and then it's about allowing space for something new to come through. This awareness is like hitting the reset button. And over time, you stop trying to become someone different, and instead you uncover the person that you've always been all along. And when your state of mind shifts, well, your habits naturally shift too. Not from willpower, but from wisdom. You've seen how small, steady habits can reshape not just your day, but the way you see yourself. But here's what often rises once that shift begins. A deep ache for closeness. We all crave connection, and we often feel unseen, even with the people who matter most in our lives. You give, you show up, you try harder, but instead of feeling closer, the distance grows. So why does this happen? What's breaking underneath the surface when love feels out of reach? And how do you turn it around? That's what we'll uncover in the next video.